Bismillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm just about to start editing today's episode, and just a quick little disclaimer. Today's episode is a bit different. Today's episode is a podcast with me and my brother, and we're just talking about his post-Umrah reflections. There's a lot of great reflection in that conversation, and I think everyone who watches it will have something to gain from it. So even if you don't watch the whole thing in one go or section it, you go to whatever section you think will apply the most to you. Watch it and see, and inshallah you'll get something that benefits you. Obviously we've spoken about some religious things like hadiths and Quran verses and that, and we've probably made some mistakes, so I'm going to go through, correct the mistakes. May Allah forgive us for getting things wrong, and inshallah if I skip anything out or even if I correct it and it's still wrong, may Allah forgive me. I mean, alright, let's get it. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm here with my older brother Hakeem, who just came home from Umrah. We're just going to chat to him and get some of his reflections. He's a very articulate speaker, so there'll be a lot to benefit from, inshallah. But yeah, so when did you go again for Umrah?
When did I go Umrah? I went on the 12th of April and then I arrived yesterday. So that's about, how many days is that? Like 12 days roughly? Yeah, 12 days. But like 1 or 2 of those days was just flights and like coach, because I travelled from Medina to Mecca. So I arrived to Medina first and I spent about 5 days there. And then I went to Mecca to do my Umrah, which is for you guys who are Muslims and haven't been in Umrah. Umrah is literally a 3-hour experience. So yeah, you don't need 5 days to do it. It's only 3 hours. So yeah.
What was your favourite part about the whole trip?
My favourite part about the whole trip, I would definitely say the Brotherhood. So I went with a group called Quad Journeys, phenomenal group. There was about 16 of us. 2 of them were like fitness influencers. One of them's called Jahidul and the other one's called Farid. And yeah, so during the trip we did a couple of like calisthenic sessions, some gym sessions throughout the journey together as a Brotherhood. But definitely my favourite thing about the trip was Brotherhood for sure. I'm not gonna lie.
Just take me through like your whole experience, so your full 12 days there.
My whole 12 days there, yeah. So Alhamdulillah, the flight journey, everything was smooth. It was beautiful. When I went to London Heathrow, that's where we flew from. Meeting the brothers first time, seeing them straight away, there was love straight away, generally. And this is like the most, like, I don't know, it's the first time which I've experienced this sort of thing, when I've met someone or met a group of people and I'm comfortable with them. And I think it's because we were all there for the same purpose, you know, we were there for the sake of Allah, do you know what I mean? So when you have something bigger than you and you guys are bonded to each other through that, you're going to love someone through the sake of Allah and you'll automatically feel comfortable with them. So yeah, that was that. And then we went on the flight. The flight was quick, fairly smooth. We landed, 5-star hotel, so we had like the carrier services and stuff like that, a 5-star coach and stuff like that. It was all smooth generally, and the rooms there were amazing. There was about 4 of us in one room, but the room was big enough to maintain all 4 of us. And then after that, we all just conked out the first night. Obviously we did Isha, we did Maghrib, we did these things that we combined the prayers and stuff like that, and we just conked out because the flight journey kind of took it from us. And then the next day started, and this was the start of 2-hour, 3-hour sleep days. We have something called tahajjud. So this is essentially, we have a morning prayer called Fajr, and tahajjud is a act of ibadah before Fajr. So you can wake up as long as it's like 30 minutes before, it doesn't really matter. As long as it's before Fajr comes, you'll be praying, you read Quran, you'll be learning about the deen. We'll do tahajjud, then Fajr as in congregation with the whole mosque. And mind you, you're thinking at 4 o'clock in the morning there's got to be no one there, but in Medina the whole mosque was there. Mind you, Medina Masjid Nabawi, that's what it's called, can hold about 600,000 Muslims praying at a time. Deep, that 600,000 Muslims, and I can promise you this, it was jam-packed from Fajr at 4 o'clock in the morning. Obviously after the congregation we would then have something called a halaqah, which is a group talk. It's led by Ustad Yasir, very knowledgeable, very palatable speaker. The way he speaks is very easy for the ears, you can understand what he's saying. And then he was teaching us, I think the first thing he literally spoke to us was actually about Umrah and how it's an invitation from Allah. It's not something which we decide to go to. We can intend to go, we can tie the camel, but it's not something which we can force. It doesn't make sense. So he said, like, even now, because we're in Medina, mind you, yeah, we spent 5 days in Medina before we went to Mecca, so we haven't done our Umrah yet. He said, even now, you still haven't made it to the Umrah yet, so don't think you've been invited yet. You haven't arrived. So he's notifying, like, he's reminding us, look, we haven't arrived there, and that it's not in our will. Allah chooses who he wills to come through. And he was emphasizing that point, and how he said, use this 5-day buffer time, this waiting lobby, peaceful place, to start using acts of ibadah, start getting to know each other, the Brotherhood as well, because we're spending a lot of time with each other. So that was that first talk. That was the first halaqah. And then we would stay up to something called shuruq. So you have tahajjud first, fajr, halaqah, which is the group talk, and then in the meantime we're staying up to shuruq. So shuruq is staying in the masjid up until the sun rises. Yeah. And the benefit of this is that, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that the person who stays up in the masjid up until sunrise receives the reward of a Hajj and an Umrah. And I want you to deep this as well. I believe there's a reward multiplier when you're in Nabawi. You get a big reward. So imagine the reward you get from Hajj and Umrah, and then Nabawi multiplier. So we did this every single day. We did Tahajjud, Fajr in congregation, and we did Shuruk. So we were racking up all this hasanah, because obviously we're all Muslims at the day, we're all humans, we've all been given free will, we've made a lot of mistakes in our life. So whenever you can collect your hasanah, your good wills, your good deeds, by all means collect them. Yeah, so that was our days in Medina. As well as he also emphasized that, look, you guys aren't here on holiday. When it's not a holiday thing. Yeah, we've come as a group, and yes, the chemistry is good, and yes, there's a brotherhood there, but remember, this isn't a holiday thing. Enjoy yourself by all means. Like, it's a peaceful place, you can enjoy yourself, but the priority is ibadah. So make sure your salah, you live your life from prayer to prayer, and make sure that's the priority. That's what he was highlighting from the beginning of this trip to the end of the trip, and I feel like we did a good job. I feel like 90% or 80% of it was ibadah, 10% was sleep, and then the other 10% was the brotherhood. So we would do activities like the gym, the horse riding, the shopping, the food, but these were all within the salah time. So yeah, I forgot to even say how I got to Umrah. So I must have shouted my boy. So this was last year December. I must have shouted my boy, a good brother. He helped me step in towards the folds of Islam and stuff like that. He helped me say my shahada and stuff like that. And I must have called him and I said like, yo, let's go Umrah. And he said he just wasn't ready for it, because for all of you who don't know, when you go on Umrah, it's a thing of when you come back from Umrah, you need to change. It's not something where you just go there for about 10 days and you come back and you do your same ways. Your Umrah, A, you don't even know if it's accepted, and B, it will only be accepted if there is a change within your life. So I must have called him, and he wasn't ready for this, for like such a big leap, which is fair enough. Charge it. Everyone is, their own person in it. So then literally 2 weeks later, a friend from uni called Asif, he must have called me after like 2 years. I haven't spoken to the guy in 2 years, and I only met him twice in uni. He's a cool brother. Love him to bits. Love him for the sake of Allah generally. He called me and he's like, yo, what are you saying? To the point where I didn't even have his number on my phone. And I was like, what are you saying? And we were catching up, and I said, bro, what was the actual purpose of this call? And he said, I'm not gonna lie, I just wanted to see if you wanted to come Umrah. And then I said, it's crazy. 2 weeks ago, I asked Bilal, can I go? And then from then, okay, so now going back to the Jinn accusation, so the Ustad, the teacher, like I said, he thought Asif, my boy who invited me to Umrah, had a Jinn. He said, I asked him, like, why did you think that? And he said there was a couple signs. Whenever we would have like halakha lessons or stuff like that, he would be always dozing off to sleep, and the way he sleeps is very agitated. And Ustad, he's seen a couple of multiple other incidents. Yeah, so then every time he's dozing off in his sleep, he's snoring like he's changing gears in a car, something like that, and he's dozing off, and he thought he had a Jinn. And then my boy as well, he's very knowledgeable as well. I have videos of him actually doing a ruqya on Asif, my friend. So he was doing ruqya on him because Ustad told him to do it. A very beautiful recitation and stuff like that. Before he did that bit, he had accusations himself as well, because he's encountered this before as well. Yeah. Then he was like, he wanted to do a test whilst he's in the shower. He said like, Hakeem, I think Asif has a Jinn within him. And I want to clarify, just because you have a Jinn on you, it's not like he's done something wrong. It's not something of his own choice. He hasn't chosen like, cool, let me get this Jinn. So he's still a good brother. He's still a Muslim. He's still a brother, so we love him still. You get me? So just because he has a Jinn doesn't mean a bad thing. It's just the qadr of Allah, innit? Like, you got to just test, innit? So he's like, I think Asif has a Jinn attached to him or something like that. So he's like, I'm going to do a test. I'm going to start reciting Quran, Al-Baqarah. So when you have a Jinn, it's good to recite Al-Baqarah and the 3 Quls. Yeah, these are very good. So before he did that, he said, look, I'm gonna start reciting the Quran and these things there. And literally just before, Asif, he never says stuff like this, but he literally says, suck my... out of nowhere. It's weird, right? All 3 of us looked at him and was just like, is this guy good? Yeah. But he still did it anyways. And again, behold, Asif is starting to doze off to sleep again now, and he started to get very agitated and stuff like that. And then from that point, we told Ustad, and Ustad said he got a ruqya water, and he said make him drink this. We got him to drink it, and he also performed a ruqya on him as well. So that was that. So that was just before we went to Medina. This was about 2-3 days before we went to Medina. And I want to also highlight as well that, if I'm correct as well, we did a talk on about jinns and that sort of realm of life. Everyone has a jinn assigned to them. Yeah. And mind you as well, we shouldn't be scared of jinns. Jinns have the intellect of a 10-year-old, mind you. So realistically, if anything bad is happening to you, it's mainly because they're just childish. Think of it when you're a 10-year-old, you're in primary school, you messed about, it's like that. So you got to remember the intent isn't too malicious. Obviously there's good and bad jinns, but remember, like, if you've got your Quran and you're reciting your 3 Quls and you're reading Quran every day, you shouldn't be scared. There shouldn't be no fear. But I'm not gonna lie to you, this is my first time hearing about jinns and understanding jinns. It was quite what's the word? It was quite nerve-wracking for me because I didn't know a lot about
Yeah.
it. But I'm cool with it. I've had my experience. So now we've done that.